Hi, in this video clip I just want to share with you some of the, I suppose, the key rules that we follow when we're buying property. There's many different ways to make money in property, but when you speak to most serious property investors that have got a whole number of properties, it's very interesting that most of them, through their mistakes and through their learnings, have some of the same very basic rules in place that they always use, whatever deal they're doing, whatever property they're buying, to make sure they're investing in the correct way. So we've pulled a lot of those ideas, we've learnt a lot of those ideas ourselves and through speaking to other property experts. So I just wanted to share some of those with you on this clip, and hopefully they'll help you with your investing. Okay. So one of the key rules for me, the first one, is to buy the property with profit in mind. Okay. You'll go out and look for buy-to-let property, and many people do this, and they'll go out and they'll buy a property, and the property that they buy they'll pay market value for. So if the property is worth 100,000, they'll pay 98, 99 or 97, okay, and they'll be pleased with that. Okay, they've got a little bit off. Why do that? You're locking in your profits from day one. Why not make more effort to offer on more properties and buy one for 90 or 85 instead? Okay, we never ever in Northern Properties buy a property now that's worth 100. We'd never pay more than 80 for it. Now we're serious and we're professional, and we have a whole host of marketing strategies that enable us to buy at that price for us and our investors. However, you won't be able to do that, but you will be able to put multiple offers in. You'll be able to offer on 10 or 15 properties in your area that are good value, that will rent well, that will tick the other rules boxes that I cover in a minute. So why not offer on all of them at 85,000 and go ahead with the one that accepts it? As long as it's ticking the other rules that we go through, then why not lock in some profit from day one? When you then come to release some money in 2 or 3 years time and release some money out, as we've already spoken about, you can release out that 10 or 15,000 discount that you bought at. Okay, so you're missing out on that profit if you just buy at normal price or around the normal price, which is what a lot of people do. Okay. The second rule is to buy the right type of property. Now what I mean by that, I'll just expand on that, is to buy at the right value. I'm based in Scarborough in the UK, so if you go to York, you can buy a house for £150,000 and the rent you're likely to achieve is about £650 a month. Okay, you'll get good demand, they'll want to rent it, you'll get £650 a month. In Scarborough, which is 40 miles away, you can buy a house for £70,000, so that's less than half of the price of the one in York, and you'll comfortably rent it for £560 a month. So you're getting £90 a month less, but you can have 2 of those houses and some change for the same price as a house in York. So your income then is 2 lots of 560, that's 1,120 instead of 650. Now you'll see on some future videos, I don't recommend property to make money on an ongoing daily basis. We use the strategies that we've talked about to release money as we go along. However, if you're going to make sure it washes its face or looks after itself on an ongoing basis, and it'd be nice to make some, would you rather have 2 bringing in 1,120 for the same debt, or 1 bringing in 650 for the same debt? Okay, so buy in the right area for the right price. You're making an investment. If somebody was selling gold for $150 and somebody else was selling it for $70 or $80 and you got the same dividend return from that investment, you'd buy it at 70 or 80. Okay, it should be the same with property. So take some time, do your due diligence. It's very difficult at the beginning because you've got your full-time job, you're busy with the kids, and you're wanting to get into property, so there's a part of you that just wants to get started. And it's better to get started than not get started, because you'll make money if you do. However, by taking some time, set some goals like we talked about before, train and educate yourself, and then do it properly. You may choose to use people, companies like ourselves, who can come and help you and do all the legwork for you. So you don't need to learn these rules, or you don't need to do the searching and spend that time. What value would that have if it saved you £10,000 because they bought with discount? Or they bought 2 properties instead of 1, so you were bringing in another £400 a month. Okay, So consider these things, learn about it before you do it. Okay, it's not a blind investment. Learn. There's lots of resource out there. We have the internet these days. There's some fantastic books which I'll talk about later. There's some fantastic mentors. Use those resources to decide which property to go for. Okay, but buy the right value property. Okay, make sure it ticks the boxes. Linked in with that, your property, the third one, your property you should only buy it if it has cash flow of greater than £100 a month after paying all expenses. So what's the rent you're going to get? And I'll tell you in a minute how to test that. What's your mortgage payment going to be? Base that on 6%. Even if you've got a good deal today, what's it going to be like when the mortgage rate is at 6% on interest only? What's average maintenance for that property? We know for our properties, we deal with mainly 3-bed properties, that average maintenance costs are about £70 a month. What's the average maintenance cost going to be, accounting for boilers breaking, accounting for all the different things that may happen? Okay. What's your buildings and contents insurance going to cost, or your buildings insurance? Once you've knocked those costs off that rental income, will it make you £100 a month? Because if it does, that will allow you to build up a contingency fund for when things go wrong, or it will allow you to have enough money to pay for someone to manage it for you so you don't have the hassle, or it'll allow you to do both. Okay, so it must cash flow at least £100 a month. You may be surprised, but there's a number of serious property investors that I know, ourselves included, if we were offered a property with £30,000 of discount off it, but that equation equated to minus £1 in cash flow, we wouldn't buy it. We would not buy that property. We'd walk away. Because our rule says we always want positive cash flow. We never want to be in a situation where our family is affected or our day-to-day living is affected because we're having to put money into the pot to support the buy-to-let. And a lot of the stories you'll hear down the pub, the negative stories about property, where people didn't know about this rule, haven't followed it, and suddenly they're having to put money into the pot all the time. Okay. The next rule that I want to share with you is about advertising the property before you buy it. So you've put your bid in, your bid's been accepted, it's going to take 5 to 6 weeks to go through. Run an advert in the local paper now, today. Okay? It will cost you £20, £25 to run that advert. Advertise the property, tell them what street it's on, how much it is. So 3-bed property to rent on every street in Scarborough, rent is £560 a month, bond and reference is required. Telephone, this number. See how many phone calls you get. You're testing demand for your property. Okay. Would somebody like Nestle invent a new chocolate bar without testing out first whether people liked it? Would they spend millions inventing and designing the wrapping paper before they knew people wanted to buy it? They wouldn't. It's the same on a smaller scale with this property. If you get less than 10 phone calls from people wanting to rent that property, don't buy it. Okay? Do not buy it. You may have got the rent wrong, so just double check the rent, run the advert again with a bit less rent. If it still meets all the other equations, 6 the other rules, you may still choose to buy it because you get 10 calls now. But if you don't, walk away. If you've only got 3 or 4 tenants, they will always be picking you. You won't be able to get a tenant easily. They will be picking you. You'll have periods when it's empty. If you've got 10 plus tenants, if someone moves out, so what? You can re-tenant it again very, very easily and quickly. Okay. There's areas where we buy where we know if we run an advert we'll get 30 to 40 calls straight away. So why buy in an area where I'll only get 2 calls? Let's buy in an area where I'm going to get lots of calls. So running that advert is absolutely key. It costs you £20 to £25 and it's so easy. The other thing you do, people ring you up, they say that they're interested. Really sorry, that property isn't ready just yet, but I will have it in 5 to 6 weeks. Can I call you back then? So you've not even wasted the £20 on your advert, because you'll call them back in 4 weeks' time. Okay. The next point, have a contingency fund. Okay, this is a little business that you're running. Okay. Again, the stories you hear down the pub, oh, my boiler's broken, I can't get the kids Christmas presents because I'm having to buy a new boiler for those tenants. Okay. It's a little business that you're running. Would you run a business without a contingency fund? You shouldn't do. So I always say maybe have £3,000 in a separate account. That's your lettings account. Your rents come into it, all your payments go out of it, but you have a £3,000 buffer. Now hopefully that buffer will build. If you've set the rules right, it will start to build, and when it's built up you can start to take some money out of it. And you probably will be able to if you follow the rules. However, assume you're not going to be able to. Assume that you're not going to make any money from this property. If you have to spend some of that £3,000 because the boiler breaks, it's there. You're relaxed about it. It's not a problem. It's part of the business plan. If you have to spend some of that money because the tenant doesn't pay you for 4 months and that's how long it takes to get them out, again, you're relaxed about it. It's not a problem. It becomes a problem when all your money's linked in together and suddenly you're having to cover the mortgage payments on that property because they're not paying their rent and it's coming out of your day-to-day money. Okay, so treat them separately, manage them separately, have a contingency fund. It will relax you 100%. Okay. We've talked about buying with discount. Okay. We've talked about using somebody else if you don't have the time. Okay. And the last point I'll make is put as little money in as you possibly can. You'll have heard this on a few other videos, but one of the biggest mistakes people make is they'll put a big deposit down. I'll put a 50% deposit down, 50,000 into this one house. Use that money in other ways. You're in property normally for asset growth, for it going up in value. So why sink £50,000 into it to watch it go up in value £10,000 when you only need to put 25,000 in or even 10,000 in? If you learn to buy properties with some discount and you get the right mortgage advisors advising you or right financial companies supporting you, you can put less deposits into these properties. Okay. Again, if you want some support on that, you can speak to my team at Mortgage Insight. The website is on the bottom of the screen, or you can easily speak to other financial advisors, but make sure you're getting one with expertise at buy-to-let, one that does buy-to-lets day in, day out and understands the theory. Really what you want to ask them, do you practice buy-to-let yourself? How many properties do you have? Okay, the same with the accountant. If you're wanting the right team around you, that team will help you do most of this. With the wrong team around you, they won't be able to advise you clearly and properly. You're blundering your way along. Okay. And I can't stress that enough. Again, too many people ignore that point, but get a team around you who can support you. Good solicitor, good accountant, good financial advisor. And if you don't know where those people are, go to a local property event and speak to property experts in that area, or feel free to contact us and we'll help you with those kind of things. Okay, I hope those rules help you, and I really strongly suggest following them and ticking the boxes off as you go. If a certain property doesn't tick all those boxes, don't follow them. The biggest errors we've made in property are when we get excited by a new deal and it looks really, really good and we can't see any catch, but it's not what we normally do. It doesn't follow these rules, so we run off after it and try and make some money doing it. And invariably we'll make mistakes because we don't have a set of rules for this new arena that we're in, and when we make those mistakes they'll cost us a lot of money. Okay, so get your set of rules together. Okay. If you're interested in buying and doing up, developing, I haven't covered those rules here. They're a different set of rules, a different set of concepts. This is buying property to rent out and to grow. Really hope that's helped you. Thanks.